Hare Krishna. So today we'll be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3rd, Chapter 7, Text 5. So it would be nice if after I recite, devotees from whoever is there if they can recite after me. Deshata kalato yoso. Anybody would like to have a following response? Hare Krishna. Somebody would like to recite after me? देशतः कालतो योऽसौ अवस्थातः स्वातो अन्यथा अविलुप्तावो बोधात्मा सायुज्येता जया कथम् देशतः कालतो योऽसौ अवस्थातः स्वातो अन्यथा अविलोत्पावो बोधात्मा सायुज्येत जया कथम् देशतः कालतो योऽसौ अवस्थातः स्वातो अन्यतः अविलुप्तावबोधात्मा सायुज्येत्या जया कथम्. Anybody would like to recite from Zoom? Hare Krishna. Do you have any devotees who would like to recite? Kiran Prabhu? Okay, we'll go ahead. Synonyms. Deshatah, circumstantial. Kalataha, by the influence of time. Yaha, one who. Asau, the living entity. Avastataha, by situation. Swataha, by dream. Anyataha, by others. Avilupta, extinct. Avabodha, consciousness. Atma, pure self. Saha, he. Yujjeta, engaged. Ajaya, with nations. Katham, how it is so. We are reading translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The pure soul is pure consciousness and is never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, dreams, and other causes. How then does he become engaged in nations? Beautiful purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The consciousness of the living being is always present and never changes under any circumstances as above mentioned. When a living man moves from one place to another, he is conscious that he has changed his position. He is always present in the past, present and future, like electricity. One can remember incidents from his past and can conjecture about his future also on the basis of past experience. He never forgets his personal identity even though he is placed in awkward circumstances. How then can the living entity become forgetful of his real identity as pure spirit soul and identify with matter unless influenced by something beyond himself? The conclusion is that the living entity is influenced by the avidya potency, as confirmed in both the Vishnu Purana and the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. The living entity is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.5 as Para Prakriti, And in the Vishnu Purana, he is mentioned as the Parashakti. He is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord as potency and not as the potent. The potent can exhibit many potencies, but the potency cannot equal the potent at any stage. One potency may be overcome by another potency, but to the potent, all potencies are under control. The Jiva potency or the Kshetrajna Shakti of the Lord has the tendency to be overpowered by the external potency, that is Avidya Karma Samagnya. And in this way, he is placed in the awkward circumstances of material existence. The living entity cannot be forgetful of his real identity unless influenced by the avidya potency. Because the living entity is prone to the influence of avidya potency, he can never equal the supreme potent. We'll offer prayers. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So I'm really thankful and grateful for giving me an opportunity to discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam. As we are going to see today in our discussion that how Srimad Bhagavatam is very important in our life, and with respect to connection to the verse what we are reading today, Srimad Bhagavatam also plays a very important role, as it's mentioned in 1.7.6. Vedavyas mentions anartopashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adokshaje. So he tells very beautifully that ki anartopashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adokshaje lokasya janato vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. So he's telling that Srimad Bhagavatam has been written or compiled by Srila Vyasadeva just for the purpose of the living entities. Anartha upasamam saksha, to destroy the anarthas present in the heart of the living entities. Anartha upasamam saksha bhakti yogam adokshaje, to make the person to come to the path of bhakti, to arise in that loving devotion to the adokshaja. Lokasya ajanato vidvams chakre satvata samhitam, for the benefit of the all living beings. Srila Vyasadeva has written this Chakre Satvata Samhitam. He has written down this Srimad Bhagavatam. So today, this verse, if you see, very, very beautiful. So this conversation, what is happening, is between Maitreya and Vidura. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. My voice is clear? Is my voice clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu, it's clear now.
Okay, okay. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. So, yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, yes, Prabhuji. So, this discussion is between our Maitreya and Vidura. So, we can see who is Vidura, who is Maitreya. Vidura is none other than Dharmaraj. Is none other than Yamaraj. And who is Maitreya? Maitreya is also great Rishi who heard the Uddhav Gita sitting at the lotus feet of Krishna when Krishna was reciting the Uddhav Gita to Uddhava. So now, actually, if you see, Yamaraj, Dharmaraj is one of the Mahajans. He is one of the pure devotees. But here we can find how he is taking the position of becoming a listener. So there are so many great devotees here there, but to teach, following in the footsteps, are giving me an opportunity to speak. So Yamaraj actually knows everything, but still, because he's on the pilgrimage to inquire about the absolute truth, he comes to Maitreya under the guidance or under the direction of Uddhava, not to transgress Maryada Vitikrama. Vidura comes to Maitreya and asks, please explain me. So one of the verse what he asks is the question that we are having today. So see here what question he's asking. He's asking the pure soul, the jiva, the living entity is always pure. It's always fully conscious. It's always filled with pure consciousness. But still, due to the circumstances, due to the time, due to the situations, and due to the dreams and other causes, what happens? It forgets about itself, and it gets engaged in nations, in ignorance, in avidya. How could this be possible that somebody who is very pure but still can get contaminated in this material world? So how could this be possible? So Srila Vishnu Chakra Thakur gives very beautiful understanding to understand this aspect, that how jiva gets contaminated in our ignorance. So today Bruce, now we'll be discussing mainly how the jiva gets contaminated in this material world, because of what, and we'll also be seeing the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings to Sanatana Goswami with respect to this verse today, with a story at the end. So if we see how this could be possible, Vishnu Chakra Thakur tells, we might have seen, for example, if we take a fertile seed, if we take a seed which is very fertile, which has got very wonderful what you call resistance power, pestilence power, but still now if this seed is taken and put into the soil, now if we take this seed and put it into the soil, so now for the seed to grow, for the seed to become sprouted, for the seed to sprout up, it needs a circumstance or an environment where it can sprout up. So it is very much dependent upon the soil, whether the soil is fertile or barren. Just say, for example, say the soil is barren, whatever you put inside that, it does not grow. So now similarly, when the jiva comes in the touch, when it comes in the touch of material energy, when it comes in touch of this avidya, ignorance that is spread in this world, what happens? it loses. It will not be able to show up its characteristics. It will not be able to show up its natural potency. That's why scriptures emphasize that we are in an artificial state of condition. We are in an artificial state of condition. Like for example, you see now a person who has drunk, a person who has drunk alcohol, full, ekdam, fully gone into intoxication. So now, he has drunk, and he is in his matta, pramatta, unmatta. So he's in his madness, and he's going from left to right, going, and suddenly he'll see, he'll not be able to see one manhole that's present there on the road. So what happens is, in his intoxication, goes and falls into the manhole. He completely, falls into the manhole, and whole body is filled with, dryness, stool, urine, bad smell is coming. So now, can you just think about this person who has fallen into that state? So now, he has already fallen into that, and so much of dirty smell is there. But there he is, lying there. He's leaning his back to the manhole wall, and he's drinking his alcohol, and he's thinking that, so amazing, so wonderful it is. So what do we call this as? We call this as ignorance, deep dark ignorance. He does not know he's suffering. So now say, no, suddenly say, one of you go and see him that, he has fallen in the pit. No, you want to help him. You want him to come out of that, ditch. You want to help him to come out of that pitfall. So you let the hand and tell, oh, no, drunkard, what is this? You're fallen. It's so dirty. Come out, come out, come out. But he tells, hey, what, you are telling that I am suffering in this pit hole? No, you are suffering. Get lost from here. I am enjoying very nicely here. Don't disturb me. Don't disturb me. Don't disturb me. There are people like this. My God, I have seen people, where they're like, we find, in Bangalore many times in the hot sun at 12 o'clock. There are people lying on the footpaths, sleeping. How could this be possible? That, in the hot sun, so much of scorching heat, where will not be able to stand, but somebody, sleeping there on the roadside. It really gives the pain, to the person who sees. But actually, if we see, all of us are also in that state. Huh? How we are able to feel compassion to that person who has fallen into the ditch, who has fallen into the manhole, drainage. When pure devotees look at us, when Krishna sees us, when Srimad Bhagavatam sees us into the hole, fallen into this material existence, it also feels so compassionate and gives its hand. Please, what is this? Why you are suffering in this trapatraya? Why you are getting contaminated by this three modes, by this adhyatmika klesha, adi bhautika klesha, adi daivika klesha, birth, old age, disease, death. Please come out. This is not the place, to be there. What do we tell that time when we get hand, or say when we get an opportunity to come in association of devotees, when we have an opportunity, to walk to the temple, when do we have an opportunity to open Srila Prabhupada books and read? Because we are, merged into the ignorance, nations of this material world. What do? We don't make right choice. Rather, like that person in the manhole who feels happy, we in the world of this material energy filled with ignorance, we tell that I'm happy in this metaverse. This is actually the fallacy of the story, how we are suffering. So that's why Brahma, to answer for this question, that how could this be possible? So I was telling that, Vidura is asking this question. Though Vidura is not in ignorance, is fully conscious of himself as an eternal servant of Krishna, but still he asked this question to remind us, to make us get benefited, that how important, even though we may have the knowledge of the scriptures, of the shlokas, so many things, but still it's very important to consider that, to inquire about these questions is very important, so that's why we find the same inquiry made by one such great devotee in Chaitanya Charitamrita to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone would like to guess who is that great devotee, disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Sanatan Goswami.
Yes, yes.
Sanatan Goswami.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Sharon Prabhu. Sanatan Goswami also makes such wonderful inquiry to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to please explain the ignorance, why do people are suffering? Why do am I suffering? So he tells very beautifully in his conversation. So today I'll be discussing about the inquiry that's made by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to inquiry made by Sanatan Goswami to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asking about something relevant with the purport that we are reading today. So he tells when he meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we know, all of us know, Sanatan Goswami was none other than the one of the major post holder in the kingdom of Nawab Hussain Shah as prime minister. He had so much of wealth, so much of wealth. When Rupa Goswami left Ramakeli and went to Vrindavan, he gave in charity what? Boat full of gold coins. Boat full of gold coins. In our life, we'll never be even able to see boat full of notes. Boat full of what you call 2000 rupees notes or 500 rupees notes. But what you call Rupa Goswami gave out boat full of gold coins in charity. So much wealth they had, so much wealth they had. Even Sanatan Goswami is no less than that. So what happens? Sanatan Goswami giving up all that wealth, whatever he had accumulated, travels to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Travels to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So after coming and meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi, if I'm not wrong. So there he meets and asks beautiful questions. So the discussion goes like this. He tells, Neecha jati neecha sangi patita adhama kuvishaya kupe padi gunainu janama. He's telling, oh Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who am I? Who am I? See, it is said Sanatan Goswami knew languages more than 20-30 languages he knew. Many of the languages he knew. And not only that, he was a high class Pandita, scholar in the scriptures of all Puranas, Itihasas, everything he was perfectly knowledge of. Rather, even before meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu itself, he was, he had established Gupta Vrindavan in Ramakeli without the notice of Nawab Hussain Shah. And for him to read Srimad Bhagavatam, a boy, a Brahmana boy comes in the dreams and gives the Srimad Bhagavatam as gift to Sanatan Goswami in the dream. And as soon as Sanatan Goswami woke up, he saw that the Srimad Bhagavatam was in front of him, and praying that Lord has come in the form of this child to give Srimad Bhagavatam, crying tears. He will be discussing every day Srimad Bhagavatam with the Brahmanas in his court. So now, even though he had so much of qualification, but still when he meets his spiritual master, superior, he tells, Neecha Jati, I am low born. Neecha Sangi, I have been in association with these Malechas for so many years serving them. Patita Adam, I am fallen. Kuvishaya Kupe Padi, I have been fallen into the well of darkness. Gonainu Janam, I have spent my life till now. Oh Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please, अपनार हिता हिता किचु नहीं जानी ग्राम्य व्यवहार पंडिता ताई सत्यमानी. People call me as Pandita in their own words, but actually I don't know what I am, and I don't know what is good, what is not good. Kripa kari yati more kariya chaudhara apana kripate kah kartavya amara. So please, because of your mercy, I have been delivered now from the entanglement of Nawab Hussain Shah, and you have brought me here. So please, Kripa Kari, I beg you to please tell me Amara more Kartavya. So what is my duty that I have to do now? So he asks Prabhu's 4 questions, which are very, very important, that is relevant to us, and we'll be discussing the answers what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives for these 4 questions incomplete if time permits. So first 2 questions what he asked, very beautiful. Okay, I'll just try to project it. It comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Madhya 20:10. Kiyami. Yeah, here it is. Kiyami kene amai jare tapotrai iha nahi jani ke mane hita haya. Can somebody read translation? Pritam, would you like to read translation?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Who am I? Why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble? If I do not know this, how can I be benefited?
So see here, Sanatan Goswami again to set an example like Vidura asking questions to Maitreya, he is asking questions to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's asking, Kene Ami, who am I? Kene Ami, Kene Amai Jara Tapatre, why do I suffer the threefold miseries? If I do not know this, how can I be benefited? So very important question. So it's very important that all of us also in some way or the other we will be tormented by the material miseries in this world. So many miseries. Prabhupada always tells padam padam yat vipadam natesham. Like for example, recently, say in this world, how at every step there can be misery. I'll just tell the what you call the reality that I saw in last 2 to 3 days. 2 days before, I got a call from my father at night 10:30. Night 10:30, I got a call from my father, and I had already slept by that time. I was wondering, what is it that my father wants to tell me at such a night. Never he had called me like this. Once before he had called. Why do he calling? And up to 2 calls were there. I was surprised. Something has happened or what. So then I asked. He said, "Did you sleep?" No, I just called like that. Please tell. How is everything? I asked. Please tell what has happened. So then he said me that one of my friend, 10th standard friend, my school classmate. So he died that day night in a road accident when he was coming on the road, gone. That friend who was there, who was existing, is no more now. So his name was Renukaraj. He was telling that he has left. So I just thought to put a word to you. So I heard and I said I asked some more details and I kept the call. I could not get the sleep. I was just thinking, how much we are in a condition, how much we are thinking about ourselves with respect to this body, eye and mind. So much it is there, in us. That's why it is said that ki, uh, 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 Hridaya Granthi Mahu, Aham Mameti, I and mind. So much we are, every moment we are identifying with our body. Say, just say for laptop, so much we are thinking this laptop belongs to me, this smartphone belongs to me. And say suddenly one day because of some short circuit, say if this laptop gets switched off or say mobile gets switched off, how much pain a person feels as if really something very very close to his heart has gone away. Now, when the relatives also leave their body, we feel so much of pain. But we are immersed ourselves also in bodily consciousness. And say the day when this body also is taken away, which we think it belongs to us, when that is gone, how much the jiva also, because of ignorance, gets immersed in pain. So I was just thinking and was not able to sleep. And just few days before, what you call, it so happened that one person was going in the lift. He was going in the lift, so the lift was going, suddenly the current went away. As soon as the current went away, my god, the lift came down. It was supposed to open the door, but what happened? It did not. The door did not open. The door kept closed to itself. He was beating the door. He was banging the door like anything. No, he was banging the door like anything, and nobody was able to come to help. And it so happened that among the two people, one person went unconscious or something like that. So then person technician came, opened the door, and he came out. So actually, around us, this beautiful nature, what people think of, this beautiful nature is so nice. I have so nice, that this, I have so many insurances that is made of. If something happens, I'll be saved. I have taken vaccination. Nothing will happen to me. But we don't know in what way, in what form the cruel death is going to come to us. Correct now. So that's why it becomes very, very important for all of us to be always conscious. Who am I? Why do I suffer in this body? Why is there the tribulation that is there in this body? So now what happens? He asks another two questions. Let us read that also. Yeah. साध्य साधन तत्व पूजिते न जानी कृपा करी सबे तत्व कहता अपनी. Can somebody read translation, please? Somebody would like to read translation?
Yes, please. Actually, I do not know how to inquire about the goal of life and the process for obtaining it. Being merciful upon me, please explain all these truths.
So Sanatan Goswami is asking, please tell me that what is the goal of life? What is the sadhya? What is that a person who has got this human body has to achieve? And second question is asking the process. Please don't just tell me the goal. Please also tell me how I can reach that goal. So please also be merciful upon me to explain the process of obtaining that goal. So as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears this, he gives a smile and he glorifies Sanatana Goswami. Actually, Sanatana Goswami, I know you can be the spiritual master of the whole universe, but still to set an example you're asking, so I'm going to answer you this question. So I really tell these teachings what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given to Sanatana Goswami and to Rupa Goswami are very, very important as Vaishnavas. We are all Rupanugas. So it's very important to understand these teachings. So I'll go a little bit faster. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu answers for these questions, the answers. So for the first question, who am I? So for that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives this shloka, which many of us know. He tells, Jivera Swarupahaya Krishnera Nityadas Krishnera Tatastha Shakti Beda Beda Prakash. He tells, oh Sanatan Goswami, the Jiva's constitutional position is to be an eternal servant of Krishna. Because he is the marginal energy of Krishna and a manifestation simultaneously one with and different from him, like a molecular particle of sunshine or fire. So all of us should know that naturally or actually we are all part and parcel of Krishna. See, as soon as one becomes aware consciously that I am part and parcel of Krishna, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, what happens is the relationship is established with the Lord. Who am I? I get to know who am I. As soon as I get to know that who am I, okay, if I am part and parcel of Krishna, why do I suffer in this material world? So for that, Lord explains the understanding of different energies of the Lord. So Krishna to what you call to put the jiva to fulfill the desires of jiva has created these three energies which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions in the continuation of these verses. He has created three energies. First one is called as Chit Shakti. or spiritual potency, internal energy. Second one is called as Jiva Shakti or Kshetragna Shakti or Tatastha Shakti. And third one is called as Maya Shakti or Avidya Shakti or external energy, Bahiranga Shakti. So Lord has created these three energies, and all of us know in the internal energy there are again three classifications. What are they? Haladini, Samvit and Sannidhi. And Avidya Shakti is called as illusory energy. So now Prabhupada had spoken about this Avidya in the purport at the end. So there, if you see, Prabhupada mentions Avidya. Avidya is very much talked about in the scriptures, especially in Bhagavad Gita also. Devi Shagudame Mama Maya Duratya. That is talking about Avidya only. And even in Kuntimani prayers also, Kuntimani does Avidya Kama Karma Bhi. And Prabhupada in the verse text 3, canto 3, chapter 20, text 16. Okay, I think if I project it, it will be helpful. So Prabhupada talks about 5 kinds of ignorance because of which the living entity gets covered. Okay, I'll put it. 3 point. You see why this knowledge of, see, I'm not what you call so much giving the examples, because it's very important to understand this knowledge, how the living entities are entangled in this world. So there are totally 5 tamagunas, 5 kinds of avidya. Okay, I'm not getting it, will take time. So what is it is, first one is called as tamishra. So tamishra, see, it is in the increasing of order of increase. See, if we understand this very carefully, what happens is it becomes very easy to transcend the knowledge. That's why even Krishna also speaks the next 6 chapters after the 3 chapters in between. So he talks about modes of nature, and other things. And even in Bhagavatam also, after 10th canto, where it contains the pastimes of Krishna, next chapter is Uddhav Gita. To tell, it's very important to understand. So what Brahmaji tells is 5 kinds of ignorance. First one is called as tamishra. So what is tamishra? Is envy. So now, why did we come to this material world? Because of envy. Because of envy towards the other, towards the Lord in the spiritual. Oh, Lord is, sometimes you see, we also feel like, say, for example, we have some superiors, or say in the house, some elders are there. As soon as they use some room or some table, we get envy in that. No, just because he's senior, should he has to use all this, opulences to enjoy? Why don't I also can get all these things? But initially, when we are come to Krishna conscious, we are very humble, asking prayers, forgiveness, all these things. But as we proceed, what happens is, even in devotional service, we can get covered by this tamishra. We can get covered by this envy. Why? It is there, innately it is there. So first is envy. So because of envy to the Lord, we have come to this material world to enjoy. Second kind of, is it possible if somebody can put in the chat box, that will be nice to everyone. First one is tamishra. Second one is anda tamishra. So what is the meaning of anda tamishra? Is person considers the death as the ultimate. The person considers the death as ultimate. So he becomes fearful. Oh, if death is everything, that I'm not able to do after that anything, so I have to enjoy as much as possible in this world. If a person is of this class, atheistic, where he does not want to what you call miss out the chance to enjoy, so the next level is called as andatamishra. Andatamishra, there is a hell called as andatamishra. So if somebody does not what you call approach the scriptures or the Supreme Lord, what happens is he goes into a hell called as andatamishra, filled with darkness. So that can be there even in this life also, if somebody considers death as all in all. Third level is called as tamas. It's called as tamas. So tamas means what? It is a kind of ignorance where person is unaware that he is part and parcel of the Lord. He is a spirit soul. Rather, he is engaged in bodily consciousness. See, these things, this different level of ignorance appear the same, but there are gradations for that. Just like, for example, what you call, the sugar candy, the molasses, the sugar cane, all looks the same, but there are gradations in that. That is with respect to sweetness. But even in ignorance also, there is different. Like, for example, in our college, in the, what you call, in hostels, there are people who sleep in different gradations of ignorance. There are people who sleep for 16 hours. There are, students who sleep for 20 hours. Prabhus, I really tell, there are people who have slept on Saturday night and got up on Monday morning. Can you think of? There are people who have slept on Saturday night and got. So these are different levels of, sleeping. So like that on tamas also. So person who is in tamas, what happens is he spends his life just to enjoy sex. And Prabhupada writes in that purport, 99% of the whole civilization is into this bodily consciousness, to enjoy sex life. So if somebody is into that, he's in tamas. And after this comes, which is very, very deep, called as moha. It's called as moha. So moha means what? Person comes into understanding that what happens is, I am this body and everything with respect to this body belongs to me. So what are the different things Papa tells, communism, nationalism, extended sense gratification in the form of relatives, all these things comes into person. And person, if you see around us, see here in Bangalore, we call it as concrete jungle. If we go here on the temple on the 6th floor and see the whole, Bangalore, so many buildings, hardly, few people have this understanding. Rest everyone have built homes, cars, trucks, and so much of traffic jam. They really don't know what is life, what is goal of life, how to get out of this suffering, what has to be done to come out of this suffering. So this is because of moha. I am body, I need one apartment, I need one villa, I need one car, I need, wife, children, my education going on, my salary coming on time, and just leading the life happily, getting up in the morning, going in the night. There are people, when we go on the street in Bangalore, we see people are sitting in the BMTC buses while going to their work and eating. Now, what kind of busy life they have got into, where they're completely immersed in bodily consciousness. And last one is called as Mahamoha. It's called as Mahamoha, where person is mad for enjoyment. He just wants to enjoy. Given an opportunity, enjoy. He is not in a mood to, like, when we have seen, when we go for book distribution, people, we tell, so important to have this. No. Just now I have eaten the flesh. Just now I have, what you call, did this thing and come. We cannot touch all these things. People have become mad for enjoyment. So that's why, Prabhus and Matajis, it becomes very important to know. So see, whenever a person engages in sinful activity, these 5 kinds of ignorance, what are they? Tamishra, Andatamishra, Tamas, Moha, Mahamoha. What happens is, these things get covered upon the jiva. That's why, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita tells again and again that Vaishnava, who is a Vaishnava, Asat Sangha Tyag Ehi Vaishnava Achar. So devotee means Asat Sangha. Asat Sangha means to commit any activity which puts us in this ignorance. So what happens is, we as a jiva, we as a pure soul, forget our constitutional position. So after this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells one very beautiful story, which I will explain and conclude for the day. So hope all of you are there. Hope I am not boring you. I feel, what you call, this is very, very much important. Yes. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells one wonderful story. So what all of us, now, in some or the other way, at some level, Prabhupada tells this Tamishra envy, even though somebody is maybe situated in transcendental position, maybe situated in what you call higher realms of bhakti, but still this Tamishra is there in some or the other way, is there in some other way. So if you have understood this pi aspect, now the story which I am going to tell becomes easy to understand. So once there was an astrologer, there was an astrologer who was walking on a road. So what had happened, he sees that there is a poor man living on the roadside. So as soon as he sees this poor man, he feels compassion, and because he is an astrologist, he tells that his father, who had died recently, had kept a pot full of gold coins, but somehow he could not express that to his son, now who is poor man. So the astrologer comes inside the hut and tells, "Oh, poor man, what is this? How is it that you are suffering like this, even without for the food, or for your food and shelter? So I have come to tell you some secret, some knowledge, by hearing which you will become very, very happy. You will be freed from all the problems. You will be living happily. Do you want to know what is it that by knowing which all of you you want to become happy?" So the poor man tells, "Yes, please tell me what is it." So that time the astrologer tells that your father has kept a pot full of gold coins, has kept a pot full of gold coins hidden just around this hut. If you can dig it and take out that pot full of gold coins, you can be living happily. So now this poor man becomes very happy. "Oh, my father is so amazing that he has kept gold coins for me. Let me find out where it is." So first what happens, he goes to the direction of south of his house and takes the axe and starts digging the ground. So when he's digging to find out the gold coins, what happens, there will be some wasp, there will be some wasp and drones that come out of the soil, and all of them come out and start biting this poor man. They start biting, and all the thorns are stuck into his body. He becomes very pained, wounded. So then he goes and tells to astrologer, "I started to dig the ground on the south side, and all the wasps and drones, and they came and bit me. So please tell what I have to do." "Oh no, I'm telling you the truth. There is the pot of gold coins. Don't stop. Start digging." So then what happens? He goes to the west of his house, and there he starts to dig. When he starts to dig, suddenly what happens? From the ground, what happens? One ghost comes out. So one ghost comes out and it captures the poor man and starts to torment him. So that time, again the rich man tells, "What is this ghost has come out and it's tormenting me?" He goes to the astrologer and tells, "This ghost is capturing me, coming in different ways, and making the body to be scratched. So please help me, please help me." So that time the astrologer frees him from the ghost and tells, "Don't stop, keep digging." So then what happens? The person, which are the two directions which are left still now? We covered south and west. Which are the two directions that are left still that he has to dig?
North and
North
east.
and east.
Yeah, north and east. Correct?
East.
North and east. Yeah. So in the north, he goes and starts to dig the ground. So when he starts to dig the ground, what happens is suddenly one big black cobra snake comes out, and it stands in front of the poor man and wanted to bit him. So when this happens, the potter was in a state to, the poor man was in a state to give up the efforts. But that time, the astrologers don't stop, go on. So that time he comes to the east and starts to dig the ground. So when he starts to dig the ground, suddenly what happens, to his amazement, after some depth, he finds one pot filled with gold coins. Filled with gold. He becomes very, very, very happy. Very, very happy. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells this story to Sanatana Goswami to teach something very, very important. So he tells, as soon as that poor man, see, that poor man is like all of us who are being put into this material world where we are poor. Person may be rich, filled with 12 floors, with Bugatti car, with sleek watches, everyone happy, maybe going on like this, but actually is considered to be a poor man. Why? We will see now. See, what is this south direction represent? South direction represents karma yoga. Sorry, not yoga, karma. It represents karma, where person works hard to enjoy. But suddenly what happens? There are some drones, wasps that come out and start beating. So person may work hard from morning to evening, but again he can go back to the animal species. So these are like drones. Sometimes people work so hard, but what happens is, because they do not know about Krishna, whatever they have achieved may be stolen away by relatives, or maybe stolen away by the boss in different ways. So these are all called as wasp and drone. And Bhagavatam compares those people to mosquitoes who come and bit us. And west direction, the ghost from where it came and attacked person, it is compared to gnana, speculative knowledge. And we know in Bhagavatam also Brahmaji criticizes this, where no speculative knowledge will not help, because it's like a ghost. See, somebody who is very speculative, when bhakti is given to them, what that is, how could be like that? How could it be? How is it possible just by chanting Hare Krishna? Once one can be getting rid of all this. So ghost has attacked him. He will not be able to get rid of. Then the north direction is compared to big black snake. This is compared to yoga process means what? Person engages in so troublesome path, keeping Krishna aside, not meditating a Paramatma. I'm not talking about this kind of yoga. I'm talking about yoga where they're engaging, all doing that, exercise, meditation on breathe, all those things. But actually, it's like black snake. You have seen that, ladder and snake game. At 99th, there is one snake, that is waiting for the, somehow, it happens when people are playing it. That is there waiting, and as soon as it comes, what happens? Comes down to the first level of numbers. Correct, na? So this is yoga. People may work hard for realization through the yoga process, but it's like snake. By bit, one is dead. So east direction is compared to bhakti, which is very important. So this digging process is compared to abhideya. It's compared to the process. And the knowledge that the astrologer gave to the poor man is compared to sambandha. He became happy as soon as he got to know that there is happiness in this world that I can attain to. But the wrong way of attaining knowledge, or the wrong way of attaining the happiness, is engaging in karma, jnana and yoga. So we have to engage in bhakti yoga. Only by that one can become happy. So as soon as that he got the path, that pot of gold, so that is called as prayojana. So conclusion is, the abhideya, we all of us know, chanting regularly, associating ourselves with sadhu sangha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions that the abhideya is that, he tells, sadhu shastra kripa yadi Krishna unmukha hayya se jiva nistare maya tahar chadaya. So it tells, Shastra Guru Atma Rupe Apanare Janan Krishna Mora Prabhu Trata Jivera Hayagnan. So he tells the Shastra, scriptures, spiritual master, and Paramatma. These are the three people who give us the knowledge, who give us the Abhideya, who also tells what is going to be the Prayojan. So we should have that faith in all of them and engage ourselves in bhakti process. So we should never take these things cheaply. Otherwise, it's very tough to get out of this ignorance. Even when the annihilation of this whole world happens, this tamas will not go away. It still remains with the jiva. That's why again he comes to this world and then he does not go back to the spiritual world. So we should be very conscious every day, as Rupa Goswami tells, 5 principal potent ways to engage: reading, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy names of the Lord, worshipping the deity, then what are the other 2? Visiting the holy dham, and association of pure devotees, and serving the Vaishnavas who are around us. So these 5 things are very important. Only then we can come to this pure consciousness, what Prabhupada is talking about, no, in this Bhagavatam verse of 3.7.5. So with this, I would like to conclude here. Time is 9:03. Hope I could give some justice to the purport and translation. But only thing, if all of you can pray that I can become serious in taking this Shastra, Guru, and Paramatma very, very seriously and engage in devotional service and serve the devotees around me in a more better way. I consider that to be worth for this life. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any devotees has any questions? Anything? Can
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanapana.
Prabhu, Dhanapranam Prabhuji. Prabhu, like second question of Sanatan Goswami, what he had asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What was the second question? Prabhu? The goal of life, right?
So first question is, who am I?
Yeah.
Second question is, why do I suffer in this material world?
Okay. Why do I suffer in the material world?
Material world.
Okay.
Tapatre. And third question is that what is the sadhya? What we have to achieve in our life? What do we have to achieve in our life? And fourth question is, what is the process to achieve that goal? So the sadhya, the goal of life is Krishna Prema, and the path to attain that is to engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness, what Prabhupada has given us, to be in ISKCON and serve ISKCON, whatever Prabhupada wanted. That is the process.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Any
Krishna
other
Prabhu.
question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Dhan-
Dhanapana.
Dhanavad Prabhu. Could you explain Abhidheya again, Prabhu?
Abhidheya is a digging process, Prabhuji, but see, all of us have come to bhakti.
Yes, Prabhu.
So if we engage ourselves in karma, jnana, and yoga, it is very tough to come to the bhakti, which is in the east direction. So we should try to give this opportunity to guide people to, or ourselves to come to the east direction. And already we don't know in our previous lives how much we have been engaged in to find the happiness. If we see everyone in this world, what do they want? One thing in their life is happiness. Correct, Prabhuji?
Correct, Prabhu. Correct, Prabhu.
We all want to be happy, but they are engaged in a wrong place. They are digging in a wrong place. So the right way of process to attain happiness is in the east direction. That is bhakti process.
Bhakti process.
That is the Abhidheya, Prabhuji.
Right, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thanks.
Please pray for me, Prabhuji. We are missing your association temple.
No, resuming back, Prabhu.
Yes.
Another 10 days, I'm coming back again.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any other questions are there? Shall we end it here? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.